Hello again, fourth graders. Welcome to week 3 of Fiesta Gardens Library during distant learning. Last week, we started reading 4th grade Rats. We read chapters 1 and 2. Today, we'll continue with chapter 3. And remember when we left off, Suds had his lunchbox kicked out of his hands by George Willis right after he was hugging Mrs. Sims, his 3rd grade teacher whom he loved when he was a 3rd grade angel. He got back to his class and his best friend Joey said, "We'll meet at the swings after school." And Suds agreed. Chapter 3, number 1. Our schoolyard has 2 tire swings. The tires hang on ropes from a bar. You just plunk your rear end on a tire and swing, or just sit if you want. The tires hang almost to the ground. That's so the littlest kids in school can climb onto them too. And that's the situation me and Joey walked into after school. We were going to powwow at the tire swings, but 2 little kids were already there. They looked like 1st graders. "Guess we'll have to find another place," I said to Joey. "Guess they'll have to find another place," Joey said. He lifted one of the 1st graders out of his tire, plunked him on the ground, and sat in the tire himself. The 1st grader's face got red. His ears got red. "You rat," he yelled. Joey nodded and smirked. "You got that right, kid." All eyes swung at me. Would I do the same as Joey? The kid on the other tire looked feistier than her pal. From the look in her eyes, you might have thought she was a 10-foot cat and I was a mouse. Nobody got a chance to see what I would do because suddenly the kid bolted, tore out of there and left the tire swaying on the rope. I realized she may have looked feisty, but she was scared. The other kid took off too, but not before he yelled, "Rat!" and spit at me. Missed by a mile. 1st graders are not good spitters. We would never do that at Fiesta Gardens. "Sit down," said Joey. I sat on the tire. "I don't feel right about that," I said. "About what?" "About kicking those little kids out." I kept seeing the girl's eyes as she ran. It was the first time anyone had ever been afraid of me. I couldn't figure out how I felt about it. "Suds," Joey said. "Remember the 4th of July at the park?" "What about it?" I said. "The talent show?" "Yeah." "The bench?" "Huh?" Joey got off his tire. He stood in front of me. "The bench we were sitting on to watch the talent show that we didn't sit on for very long?" Oh yeah, it was all coming back to me. "Some kids kicked us off it." 4th graders, he said. "They dumped us off. They lifted one end of the bench real high so you and me slid off onto the ground." I laughed, picturing Joey and me zooming down the bench like it was a sliding board. "Man, I forgot about that." "I didn't," said Joey. He wasn't laughing. "So," I said, "now that I'm a 4th grade rat, I'm supposed to go around dumping little kids off benches? Is that it?" "There's more to it than that," he said. I started swinging. I'm all ears. Joey got back on his tire. He matched his swing to mine. "Suds," he said, "you're in 4th grade now. That makes you a rat. Stop fighting it. It's nature's way." "I can fight it if I want." "Yeah, how?" I thought for a minute. "I'll do rotten in school. I'll do so rotten they'll have to flunk me and put me back in 3rd grade." "Forget it, dude. You can't go backwards. Time marches on." I liked being an angel. Joey stopped his swing again. He reached over and stopped mine. Suds, you ant brain. Angels finish last. What did you ever get out of it, huh? Did anybody ever say, "Oh, thank you, Suds. You're so nice. You're such an angel"? Huh? Anybody ever say that? Not exactly, I had to admit. Your mother ever say, "Oh, Suds, you're such an angel. You don't have to clean your room anymore"? Guess not. Are you allowed to stay up late? No. Are you allowed to go anywhere you want to by yourself? No. Are you allowed to say no to your mom? Of course not. He poked my tire. See, that's what I'm talking about. I'm glad you know what you're talking about, I said, because I sure don't. I'm talking about growing up, he said. I'm talking about not being an angel baby anymore. I'm talking about taking care of number one for a change. I felt silly, but I had to ask, who is this number one? He pointed, you, dude, you're number one for you. I'm number one for me. Number one, that sounded good. Maybe there was something to this rat business after all. But what about crying, I said. Why can't I cry or be scared of spiders? He got off his tire. He faced me. He was dead serious. Because real men don't cry. What's men got to do with it? Before you said it's rats that don't cry. That's right, he said. That's the whole point. Being a rat is the next step to being a man. You want to be a man, don't you? Sure, I said, I guess so. Well, he said, you can't be a man without being a rat first. He poked me in the chest. That's what fourth grade is all about. There he is, poking him in the chest. Except for us, the schoolyard was empty. Parents were calling their kids into dinner. We headed home. As I walked up the driveway to my house, Joey said, "See ya, Rat." "See ya," I said. Before I reached the door, he rushed back. He grabbed my arm. "Don't forget," he whispered. "Say no to your mom." Chapter 4. Zipper Nose and Bubba. I'm no good at hiding my feelings. My mother says I would never make a good poker player, whatever that means. "Bad first day?" she said as soon as she spotted me. I slumped on the sofa. "Worst first day ever," she whistled. "That is bad. What happened?" "I don't know, lots. It's hard to explain." There he is on the sofa. She sat down beside me. She patted my knees. "Give it a try." I took a deep breath. "Well, it's all about being in fourth grade now, you know, a rat. Third grade angels, fourth grade rats. So I'm not an angel anymore." She snapped her finger. "Well, golly gee, you could have fooled me." "You're not funny, Mom." "That's your opinion. I happen to think I'm quite funny." I glared at her. "Yeah, well, you wouldn't think it was so funny if you were in fourth grade and everybody was giving you a hard time. Life isn't as simple as it was in the old days, you know? I got problems." Her grin disappeared. Her eyes changed. She stroked my hair. "Yeah, I guess you do. Tell you what." She squeezed my leg. "I think it's time for a bath." "Yeah," I said, "I think so too." I dragged myself upstairs. When I was a baby, I had upset stomachs a lot. It made me feel cranky. "You were not a ton of fun to be with," my mother always says. But she discovered something that helped, a bath. The warm water would have a good effect on me. I would stop crying. I would calm down. Sometimes she would pour in bubble bath. Pretty soon I'd be laughing and splashing. Suds were flying. That's how I got my name, from the bubbles, from the suds. My mother says each time a bubble burst on my face, it made a freckle. She says suds gave me my curly hair too. One thing's for sure, Suds gave me my name. I stopped having upset stomachs by the time I was 2, but I never stopped liking a warm bath. It doesn't matter what time of day or night it is. If I'm sad or ticked off or wound up about something, I usually feel better if I head for the water. Well, that's what she meant when she told me to take a bath. 5 minutes later, there I was in the tub with my tugboat and my dinosaur. I guess even I had to admit that I was getting a little too old for toys in the bathtub, but I still really like them. They've been with me as long as I can remember. What was I supposed to do? All of a sudden hate them? Throw them away? There he is in the bathtub. I started thinking about my life, the important things in it. My Disney World t-shirt, my bike, my Klondike bars, my Matchbox car collection, heavenly hashed ice cream, sliding boards, Spider-Man, Winky, my one-eyed teddy bear, my oldest friend in the world. I tried to picture life without them. I couldn't. I always thought when you grew up, stuff like bikes and bubblegum just sort of disappeared from your life. You didn't want them anymore. They get replaced by cars and coffee and all. I never thought you actually had to give them up, whether you were ready to or not. I thought growing up was just something that happened. You just sort of went along for the ride. But if Joey was right, growing up didn't just happen to you. You had to work at it. And that, according to Joey, meant being a rat. For the first time in my life, I wanted time to slow down. I didn't care if I ever had another birthday as long as I could keep my one-eyed teddy bear. My brain was sore from all this thinking. I ran the faucet some more. I let myself sink into the water. The lower I sank, the better I felt. It was like I could feel time slowing down, feel it stopping, going backwards, back to 3rd grade angels, 2nd grade cats, 1st grade babies, little yellow tugboats bobbing in the water, bobbing, bobbing, bobbing. My mother's voice, "Sudsy, dinner time!" As soon as I sat down to dinner, Zippernose, otherwise known as my sister Amy, sneered at me. "Rat!" She didn't stop there. She puckered her mouth and raised her upper lip, baring her 2 front teeth. I had to admit, it was a good imitation. "Rat, rat, rat," she went. My mother plopped some mashed potatoes on her plate. "Amy, stop." It was too late. Baby brother Bubba was already blaring his little fangs and going, "Whack, whack, whack." He doesn't say his R's right yet. "Bubba, you too," snapped my mother. "Right, Mom." Now Zippernose was nibbling like a rat on a slice of bread. And now Bubba was nibbling like a rat on his hot dog. And now my mother was standing and slamming a serving spoon down on the table. "I said stop." She glared at my father. "Elmore!" There is the family having dinner. My father looked up from his plate. "Stop," he said, and went back to his eating. My mother is pretty laid back, but compared to my father, she's a nervous wreck. My mother sat back down. "Mom," whined Zippernose, "I can't help it. He's a rat now. I'm just treating him like the dirty, rotten, slimy rat that he is." "Whack, whack, whack," said Bubba. "Enough," commanded my mom. "Amy, another word from you, and you can leave this table." Zippernose's words stopped, but not her faces. She kept baring her front teeth and nibbling on her food. "All right," said Mom. "Upstairs." Zippernose screeched. "Mom, I didn't say anything." "You're making faces." "You said not another word. You didn't say not another face." "I'm saying it now. Your dinner is over. Leave the table. Upstairs to your room. Close the door. Good night. Zippernose stomped off. Before she ran upstairs, she yelled back, "Rodent!" Bubba echoed, "Rodent, rodent, rodent." Then he started laughing. When Bubba laughs and eats at the same time, he becomes a midget volcano. Pieces of mashed potato and hot dog were flying everywhere. I slammed my fork down. "I'm out of here." I stomped off. My mother called back, "Suds, here." I didn't say no, like Joey told me, but I didn't say yes either. I just kept going. That was the end of chapter 4. Bye-bye now. See you later, 4th graders.